who's devalued LeBron? See, that's the BS that we have to stop letting him and his camp get away.
Lots of people have.
Once again, no, excuse me. When we talk about the GOAT, because he's not.
He's not.
Why did you depart Cleveland to go to Miami and join forces with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade to get one? Why did you depart from there to go back to Cleveland?
Why?
Why? Because LeBron only went back to Cleveland for one reason: to resurrect his reputation.
You're either a Kobe guy or a LeBron guy. And I know that Kobe, if he was on the other side of that table, other than Steve Nash, he would have had some words for LeBron, and they wouldn't have been.
You're damn right.
There wouldn't have been an agreement.
You're damn right.
So I do think that this is also a Kobe-LeBron idea.
It was supposed to be just another episode of Mind the Game, a thoughtful podcast where LeBron James opens up about the game he's mastered for 2 decades. But what he said next lit a fire across the sports world. LeBron looked into the mic and said, almost casually, "To me, a ring is a team accomplishment. I don't know why it's discussed so much in our sport." And just like that, a 20-year legacy, 4 rings, and endless debates about greatness got dragged back into the center of a storm. Stephen A. Smith didn't just respond, he erupted. "Then why'd you go to Miami?" That one line shook the internet. It was like watching someone rip off the mask of a legend mid-sentence. But what made this moment so explosive wasn't just the comment, it was what it exposed underneath. Because behind LeBron's thoughtful critique of ring culture lies a much more complicated truth. And to understand why Stephen A. tore into him the way he did, we have to look at how the pursuit of a ring became more important than the ring itself. The Miami contradiction. In 2010, LeBron made the most infamous decision in modern sports. "I'm taking my talents to South Beach."
In this fall, man, this is very tough. In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat.
The announcement wasn't just a shift in scenery. It was a declaration of intent. LeBron didn't want to build toward a title anymore. He wanted it now, with D. Wade, with Bosh, and with the kind of super team that said winning isn't optional, it's the only thing that matters. Then came the parade. Not 1, not 2, not 3. That chant, meant to hype fans, became fuel for critics, because it revealed what LeBron knew then: rings matter. A lot. So when he recently claimed he doesn't know why titles are so emphasized, Stephen A. saw red. Because how do you build a legacy on chasing rings, then criticize the culture that remembers you for it? But this wasn't the first time LeBron tried to shift the narrative around rings. And to see how far back it goes, we need to rewind to the players who shaped this standard long before him, the ghosts that haunt him. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Bill Russell. LeBron's entire career has existed in the shadow of these names. Players who didn't just win rings, they defined themselves by them. Russell won 11. Kobe died chasing 6. Jordan, 6 for 6, never let it reach a Game 7. This isn't just trivia, it's the scorecard for greatness. And whether LeBron likes it or not, he helped lock himself into this comparison. Stephen A. called it out bluntly. He's contributed to this by comparing himself to Jordan, by forming super teams. Every step of LeBron's journey, Miami, Cleveland 2.0 LA, was meticulously crafted around legacy building. So when he now says, "I don't know where it started," fans and analysts alike hear it as selective memory. But it's not just about what LeBron said, it's about who he left out. And the next chapter reveals why this team accomplishment narrative didn't land the way he thought it would. The disrespect of greats without rings. LeBron tried to defend his stance by name-dropping legends who never won a title: Allen Iverson, Charles Barkley, Steve Nash. He argued that rings shouldn't be used to erase the careers of players like them. But Stephen A. wasn't having it. Nobody's disrespecting them. They're universally admired, but there's levels. And that's the truth. AI is loved because he fought giants. Barkley is adored because of his dominance, despite Jordan blocking his path. Nash revolutionized offense. But in every case, fans recognize what was missing just as much as what was present. The irony? These are the very names LeBron was compared to before he ever won. He's the one who had to leave Cleveland to separate himself from them. So the question becomes, is LeBron trying to rewrite the narrative around them or around himself? That brings us to the moment LeBron went back to Cleveland, a decision that, in hindsight, completely contradicts the philosophy he's pushing today. The return to Cleveland, redemption or reputation. When LeBron returned to Cleveland in 2014, it was painted as a homecoming, a hero's return, a chance to bring a title to a cursed city.
I'ma do what makes my city and my state happy, and that's why I came back. I love you.
But if rings don't matter, why did he come back? Stephen A. was crystal clear. He only went back to Cleveland for one reason, to resurrect his reputation. Because when LeBron left in 2010, he didn't just abandon a team. He abandoned the idea of earning it the hard way. And that scarred his image. Winning a ring in Cleveland wasn't just about hometown pride, it was about validation. Proof that he could do it on his own terms, without riding Wade's coattails. And when he did, it became one of the greatest finals wins in history. The 3-1 comeback, the block, the redemption. If LeBron truly believed rings were just a team stat, he wouldn't have risked his legacy to win the right one. But here's where the contradiction deepens. Because if ring culture is so toxic, why did he go to the Lakers? The answer reveals the real currency behind winning. The business of championships. Stephen A. didn't just bring fire, he brought receipts. He reminded everyone that championship rings have never just been jewelry. They're business assets. The sizzle, the shine, the endorsements, the compensation, the validation. Everything, from the LeBron Nike campaigns to Space Jam 2, is built on the myth of a winner. And that myth only holds up when you've got the hardware to back it up. Would Gatorade be sponsoring 4-time finals loser LeBron? Would the Lakers have bet their franchise on him if he wasn't already a champion? Unlikely. LeBron didn't just chase rings for sport, he chased them for status, for power, for leverage. And that's not a bad thing. But when you spend a career cashing in on your wins, then later say the wins don't matter that much, you create confusion. And Stephen A. wasn't about to let that slide. But the most telling part of this debate, it's what Kobe Bryant never would have allowed. What would Kobe have said? When the panel brought up Kobe, everything changed. Kobe would have had words for LeBron, they said, and LeBron would have never said that across from him. Because Kobe's entire identity was championship or bust. The Mamba mentality wasn't just a brand, it was a belief system. You fight, you sacrifice, you win, and if you don't, you own it. That's why so many players today either identify as Kobe guys or LeBron guys. One sees excellence as defined by winning. The other sees it as supplemented by winning. And this is why the ring culture debate is deeper than just hardware. It's about what you stand for when the game is on the line. Kobe never had to explain why rings mattered, because he made sure they always did. And this legacy-first mindset is why Stephen A. says LeBron knows what he's doing. He just doesn't want to be held to it anymore. Which brings us to one final question. What really defines legacy? The price of greatness. LeBron James is one of the greatest players to ever live. That's not up for debate. But greatness always comes at a price. The pressure, the comparisons, the expectations, and yes, the rings. What Stephen A. Smith exposed wasn't hypocrisy, it was tension. Tension between a man who's done everything the game asked of him and a system that still wants more. But here's the truth. We don't remember champions just because they won. We remember the fight they put up to get there. That's why Allen Iverson is loved. That's why Kobe is eternal. And that's why LeBron's legacy, no matter how many podcasts he records, will always be tied to the pursuit of the crown. Because in this league, you're not remembered for how many points you scored. You're remembered for how many banners you left behind.